We
are
cultivate.
cultivate.
We are cultivate.
The Oracle Network.
Hello and welcome to a special mini-sode of Ye Olde Crime, the show where Maddie and I discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear every Wednesday. This special bi-weekly segment is called Can You Crack the Cramp-Word, which is slang for a difficult or obscure term, which I thought was very fitting. And today is a special edition, as we are having our first Cramp-Off between two previous guests, as voted on by you, our listeners, and that is the gentleman of Reddit on Wiki.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yes. That's us.
So good. So good.
Good afternoon, good evening.
And the lovely Jules of Riddle Me That.
Hey, everyone.
She did it way
See,
better
she's
than
on
we did.
point.
Yeah,
She's on point.
She got her cue. That was very smooth.
Guys are already slacking. So before we start the game, I wanted to allow everyone once again to share information on their shows, and then we're going to have a quick Q&A session before we start the Cramp-Off.
Ooh.
So who would like to go first?
I volunteer Sean.
Always
Why am I
volunteer,
always
Sean. But
volunteered?
let's ladies first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean. No?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Sean, go for it.
God damn it.
Jules, why don't you start us off since they did tell you you could?
Okay, I'll start us off. Yeah, so Riddle Me That is a weekly show. I usually cover unsolved case disappearances, murders, and I have a guest on every week who will usually tell me about a case or will discuss a case. Sometimes it's one that I'm really well aware of and I know the details, and other times it's totally new to me. So it's a little bit of something different every week. I used to only do unsolved, but now I do a little bit of solved in there as well.
Very cool.
Nice. All right, now, Sean, you're voluntold.
Nice. I feel like I did this last time around.
Every
which seems
single
unfair.
time.
We don't have new material. It's
You can regurgitate it again,
Yeah.
my guy.
You think I remember what I said? Okay. Anyways, this is Sean from Reddit on Wiki. The other two guys are my co-hosts / bullies. On Reddit on Wiki, we learn something new every week. And the caveat is we use Reddit and Wikipedia as our main sources of research. And at this point, we're more of a Patreon than a show. So go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon. We have a $25 tier. That cannot be more important. The most crucial thing about our show is the Patreon. So patreon.com/cultivate podcast network, or just who knows? Just kidding. But yeah, we're a comedy podcast. John usually talks about something spooky or paranormal. I usually do pop culture stuff. Josh does history. But 30 episodes in, we've already scrapped that, and we kind of just do it. Whatever's interesting at the moment. We've talked about NFTs because that's what 30-year-old guys talk about on podcasts now. We've done cryptids because I learned about what that was through Lindsay's other podcast. And yeah, it's a fun time every week. And the Patreon again is patreon.com/.
You see why we voluntold you to do this? You're great at it.
So good.
So good.
Questionable.
It was good. It was good, Sean.
Appreciate it, Jules. Well, Linz is nice to me too, but I appreciate it from you too.
Hey, we're nice to you off the mic.
Not Josh and John.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you wait till I'm on the mic so you can bully me and then get the anxiousness. Anyway, I'm sidetracking enough. Sorry, Linz. This is your show.
Josh, you want to go next?
Oh, yeah. So I do my own podcast called Let's Start a Cult every week, or every other week, I guess. I have a guest on and I teach them about the dark underbellies of cults, the cult leaders, and yeah, it's always depressing and dark, but it's we try and make it as fun as we can. And then, Reddit on Wiki as well. Sean, what's the Patreon? Okay.
That's patreon.com/cultivate.
He
Is it
doesn't even
Cultivate
know.
Podcast
No,
Network?
He
or
doesn't even know.
Cultivate
So,
Network? I don't even. I joke about it so much. I should know
The
this.
icon up above your head says Cultivate
Yeah,
Network
yeah.
on mine.
Oh, but it is patreon.com/cultivate podcast network. That's cultivate spelled CULTIV, the number 8.
the letter A.
Letter 8, sorry. I forgot our
All
gimmick.
right, lastly, John, would you like to bring us on home?
Sure. I also host The Dumbfounded, where every month we talk about some of the craziest and insane ways people die. I think Darwin Awards, and this is the only show that I guess Sean accepts the fact that I do a lot of puns in this episode or in this show because it is not accepted on Reddit on Wiki. But yeah, you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, and we're on once a month.
This is true.
Oh, just sorry to hijack it again, but I also host another show. No one listens to it though, but it's called Shots and Thoughts. That show is similar to Reddit on Wiki, where we learn stuff every week. But the second half of the show, we play drinking games, and then we make the drunkest person give a recap of what we just learned. But again, no one
I
listens. So
listen. I
last
listen.
distraction. Here we go. Linz and John are our two listeners.
I like
and
how you
we
left
push
me
through
out,
for them
like,
too, especially.
You don't listen. That's why.
We know. We know the
listen to my
truth,
own
Josh.
podcasts.
All right. I'm going to start asking some questions now. I'm going to start with John. So get ready, I guess. So now that The Dumbfounded is back in action, are there any topics in particular that you're looking forward to discussing with Patrick?
Honestly, not really. There's we cover so many things and it's just random instances, and there's so many types of deaths that could happen on a daily basis, especially the ones that are kind of bizarre and not really explained, or sometimes not smart the way it happens. Right now we're kind of just waiting on the next person to do something stupid so we can kind of make fun of them.
I feel your show has
Jesus.
a morbid undertone of where you have to wait
Oh, it's very morbid.
like so long before you can do an episode on someone because
Why do you think we took a break? We're running out of time. We're just
The
waiting
death
at this point. Like we
do the death of your own show and then
yes.
Oh, God.
Oh my!
And look at us, just like Jesus, baby. We're back.
Push that rock out of the way.
Yes, we did. Yes,
it
we
took them
did.
way longer than 3 days.
I'm going to ask Sean. So on your show, you roll D20 dice to determine what types of games you're going to play. Can you share with our listeners what types of games they are and which one is your favorite?
Ooh, yeah. So we are just now finishing up season 3, and I think the one thing we've learned from season 3 is we have too many games. We have 8 different games, and we didn't get to play a lot of our favorites because we kept rolling shitty numbers that we didn't want to play. But some of the games that we have on there, we have like a freestyle rap one, which we're going to
That's
try
my
and
favorite to
force
listen
Josh
That's
to
my
play at
favorite
some
one.
point.
That's my favorite one.
That's probably my favorite one, just because it always leads to either Ryan or me messing up horribly. Fantasy draft, we noticed the shotties is what we call our listeners. The shotties really like fantasy drafts, and those are fun to do. And yeah, what other games do we have? There's 8. There's too many. We got to get rid of some.
Word tennis.
But yeah, fantasy draft and freestyle I think are my favorites. Oh, word
Look how
tennis.
John
That
knows
one's
your
really
show
fun. I'm telling you, John listens. I'm like Josh. I don't listen to the shows I host because I'm like, I lived
was
it, you know
there.
what I mean? But we have word tennis where we like, I would say pizza, and then we would go in a circle and name something that relates to pizza. And then the first person to mess up twice takes a shot. We have the freestyle rap where the first person to mess up the flow of the rap takes a shot. We have the fantasy draft, which I mentioned. We'll put that on our social media. The shotties will vote. Then the next episode, the person with the least amount of votes takes a shot. Yeah, it's just a good time.
Nice.
I think my favorite freestyle was the one, what was it? The foreskin without the bris. That was my favorite line. Oh my God, I died. I died.
That
I was...
That was
my
a-
God.
all of
Fantastic
Ryan's
one.
raps are my favorite because I think we talk about this on my podcast, Sean, but he just goes into it with so much confidence and then ends it on the like just
Horribly
just
wrong
the
most of the
weakest
time.
line.
Is he the one that did warmth? Warmth?
The man has a talent.
He did the mullet one too.
Yeah.
The mullet, yeah.
Yeah, he did the mullet without the haircut,
Yeah.
and then he couldn't rhyme anything with
I'm gonna
haircut.
say something. Ryan's the best rapper from Canada. I'm gonna say.
Over Drake.
Oh,
That's
okay.
until we get you to do it, Josh.
All right, Jules. You have another show, The Path Went Chilly, with Robin Warner and Ashley Wellman. What is one of the cases you've covered on that show that you found particularly interesting?
Oh, that's so hard trying to pick a favorite, or like a favorite, the wrong word. The one that I found the most interesting. I think probably the death of Keith Warren. He was the one case that really brought us together. Like we'd done 2 different cases for my show before we decided to do a show together. Like we covered the case of Jacob Landine, and then we covered Blair Adams. And then when we did Keith Warren, we're like, let's just do this on a regular basis. We enjoy it and we vibe really well together. So why not? And just to break it down, Keith's case is basically, he was 19 years old, Silver Spring, Maryland. He ends up found hung from a tree. He's a young Black male. And so he's also, there's lots of bizarre details. Like he's not wearing his clothes that he left the home in. His clothes are too big. It appears he may have been dead before he was put on the tree. There's different autopsy reports that say different things. But at the end of the day, there's also a bizarre letter that was sent to his mom, along with Polaroid with Keith hanging from the tree. Somebody from inside law enforcement thought that there was something wrong here and that they weren't doing their job investigating. So when she saw those, she realized his mother, Mary, who's long since passed, his sister, Sherry, continues the fight. But she saw these and was like, wow, like these aren't my son's clothes. And then she later received a letter from, or was it in there at the same time? No, it was in there with the Polaroid. And the letter said something about Keith and then said Mark Findlay would be next, who was an acquaintance of Keith who was looking for him right before he died. Well, Mark left a message on her machine and said, I really have to talk to you about something. And then before he could talk to Sherry or talk to Mary about it, he ended up dead under mysterious circumstances.
Ooh.
And the same, I guess, investigators that had investigated Keith's death ruled it an accident. But apparently the trauma to the body, according to Dallas Litt, who's now fire chief, that he was one of the first responders to Keith's case. And he said it was not a suicide. He said that the guy he spoke to who saw Mark Findlay's death scene said it was likely a murder. It looked like he'd been beaten and not that he'd just fallen off his bike. It didn't make any sense. So there's so many bizarre elements to the case, but at the very heart of it is a sister who's really, really fighting for justice for her brother. And what she really wants is for it to be ruled as unknown, not as suicide. That's what will be justice for her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, that was really long.
Okay. I was ready to sit through an hour of that.
I know. I was like,
just like,
"What? Tell me more.
Yeah, I'm going after this to immediately go listen to you guys discuss that because
Josh.
Hi.
So I asked you last time you were here what cult you've covered that you could see yourself joining. What is a cult you've covered that you would have avoided at all costs?
Oh man, all of them. No, if I'm being honest,
Nazi Germany.
well, yes, that one.
Another one to the tally, baby. Let's go.
I feel if I don't say that one, it's controversial, but I'm probably going to go with the Anthill Kids.
I knew you were going to say that. I'm like, he's going to say Anthill Kids. Of course.
That episode that was probably my darkest episode. And it was closest to home. It was here in Ontario, which is it was kind of near where I was from. And yeah, I don't want to talk about what they did, but it was a lot of sexual abuse and manipulation, and basically kept a bunch of people prisoners, and it was not good. So I would avoid that one at all costs, because
Fair.
at least with Jim Jones, I'd get some Kool-Aid. So
Unsweetened,
true.
possibly.
and Sun.
There you go.
Yeah, and obviously Nazi Germany was one, and then There's a huge list of ones I wouldn't join over the ones I would join, but Anthill Kids is number one.
All right. Now that we've got that fun stuff out of the way, as I mentioned before we started recording, since the numbers are a bit uneven, we are going to be changing the rules for this match.
Squid Games, let's go.
I'm winning.
So for the Reddit on Wiki Boys, you'll be given one term that you all have to agree on the meaning of on your round.
We never agree on anything, so.
I know, so we'll be here forever. And we're also going to be doing 3 terms for each of you. So the person or persons who get the closest will be declared the Cramp-Word champion. And it can be 1 out of 3, it could be 2 out of 3, however it ends up working. I do have a tiebreaker if I need a tiebreaker.
Oh,
You won't.
Jules is the only.
I don't think on our episode we got any of them right. So
I don't think I got any right either. I don't think I was anywhere close. I don't know why you guys think I'm
How did
actually.
we make it to the
PhD
finals?
on her title.
But Jules, remember we recorded twice, and then the first recording that wasn't actually recorded, you did get one.
Oh.
I did. Okay. I got
So,
one.
see, mine like a steel trap. This one. All right, John, Josh, and Sean. Your first term is David's sow.
Okay, well, Sow's a
said-
pig.
Yep.
You said David?
I was about to say, I think I know that guy.
Anything else? Do you guys know a David? Is he
The only David I know is from Schitt's Creek.
okay?
Oh, David Chang.
No,
Yeah,
David
that's another one.
Chang.
Ew, David. That's the only one I know.
Wasn't a David and Goliath? Maybe it's like big pig, large pig.
Pig.
Oh wait, David was the
prized
small one though.
pig.
I'm an idiot.
David is a small. Oh,
yeah.
They have those little teacup
The
pigs.
tiny
It could be.
pig.
It could-
Yeah. Okay. I'm good with that.
That's
A
your final
teacup
answer,
pig.
teacup pig.
Oh, wait. No, don't put this on me, my guy.
Hey, but
No,
if
we're
you're
taking
right,
no,
you get all the
if
glory.
we get
All right. David Sow is a beastly drunk.
Oh. Yep. That makes sense. Although teacup pig, pretty close. I don't know.
Pretty close.
Teacup pigs do get drunk quick. So
Yeah.
that's
I would say drunken men are considered and
True.
oftentimes called pigs. So the correlation
Deservedly
is-
so.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm definitely deservedly so.
All right, Jules, your first term is bunch of fives.
This isn't just. Okay, well, I guess this is old timey, so it's not like somebody's got a bunch of fives and they're gonna go make it rain in the old timey like strip club because they're would have been like a review or something. Okay, bunch of fives, 5 pence, 5. I don't know. I don't have like a panel here. You guys at least have the ability to go back and forth. I
You,
just sit
you
here
can
in
you can
silence
throw stuff at
thinking.
us. I'll respond.
yeah, we got you.
I don't know if you want our what would you call it?
You don't want our opinion.
Your input on this. Yeah. I don't know. Like I was thinking a bunch of fives, like bunch of 5 pence. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Can I cheat? Can I ask what their
Sure.
thoughts are here? Yeah. All right,
I went
guys.
with
what are your
5
thoughts?
Alive as soon as I heard it, but I knew that was wrong. So
5 Alive? What is that?
it's a drink.
The drink.
Oh.
Is it a Canadian
no.
drink? Maybe.
Is that Canadian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We have 7 Up. I don't know 5 Alive. Is that the same thing as
No,
7
it's
Up?
juice. It's like a juice, right?
Like a sunny D or
Are
something.
there 5 berries in it?
Maybe.
Oh.
I think they're.
Oh.
And I don't remember. I drank it
Yeah.
when I was a kid, but
I'm a child at heart. That's what I can.
Bunch
gonna
of
say, like,
fives.
A group of women that you can hire?
Oh.
And they're only fives.
there are only 5.
Yeah, this is. I didn't want to say it, but I was like, is a bunch of fives like just like a group of mid people, like people
Yeah.
that just look like me, like a 5. You know what I'm saying? Like just average.
Okay, can I go with that one? That's
wanna
my
go with
final
that one?
answer. I like that. Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. A bunch of fives is a hand or a fist.
Oh.
Like
That makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that's 1 5.
Well,
Yeah.
if I'm
I got a
I
bunch
guess
right
if you
here,
bunch
buddy.
your
yeah,
hands,
if I'm
one
beating the
five.
shit out of you, then it is gonna be a bunch
you
of
bunch
fives.
there.
bro.
I guess. Yeah.
No, you
Throwing
should.
hands.
But it would be bunches of fives, wouldn't it? Because you couldn't have a bunch of fives. You should have a bunch of
Yeah.
5. right? Then it would
Bunches
be
of five.
bunches of
I
five.
didn't make it.
Wait.
Take it up with the Victorians.
This is more like a zero. Wouldn't you just be like smacking them? Like that would make more sense if it's
Yeah.
like jellyfish flopping.
But you should give this podcast a bunch of 5 ratings. There you go.
Bam.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
Yes,
I like
you
that.
should.
That was smooth.
Thanks. I'm a professional.
You are. All right. John, Josh, and Sean, your second term is chucking a stall. Chucking a stall, like a bathroom stall.
Chucking a stall.
First thought in the head is throwing poop. I know it's wrong. That's why I'm just getting it out of the way now.
We can't
we're
roll.
we're rolling with it.
You're
We're rolling with it. We're
brainstorming.
just getting bad
Can't
ideas
rule
out.
anything out.
Yeah, don't roll it out.
Yeah, it can only go up from
You'll
feces.
stick on a wall. Oh, chucking this.
I think the thing that I've learned for sure is out of all the words that we've done 2 here and then 3 on our other one. They're never as stupid
A
as we
bunch of
think they
fives.
are. I feel like.
Hands.
Yeah, bunch of 5s is reasonable. That's a hand, not a bunch
Wait.
of mid-looking people.
I liked yours better though.
Okay, I have an
appreciate it,
idea.
Jules.
I want to say it's like shoveling out stalls. You know what I mean? Like horse stalls.
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't
Sounds
know.
accurate.
What do we think?
Well, let's blame. I like it. Let's blame Josh if
It's,
he's
it's
wrong.
like it.
kind of like throwing poop, but you're with a shovel, you know?
With the classy.
Yeah.
And that poop smells better.
Well-
Like horse poop isn't so offensive. It's
Okay,
human
that's
poop.
fair. I'll give you
At
that.
least you know what the horses have been eating.
She said better. She didn't say good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't casually
like going-
smelled horse shit before, so I wouldn't know.
It's like a 5.
Oh, okay.
It's mid.
Not bad,
It's
yeah.
mid.
I mean,
It's mid. Yeah, it's mid. Let's go with that, Josh.
Chucking a stall is where one rogue walks in front of a person while another picks his pockets.
What the?
So someone's doing the misdirection while another person comes behind and is like, yoink, taking your purse.
You could have given me a million years. They would have never got that.
I would have never
No
guessed
way.
that.
Holy.
I'm trying to figure out how
Chuck.
we get there.
yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
5s, bunch of 5s makes sense. I gotcha.
Yeah.
David Sal, I
Chucking
gotcha.
stalls. Yeah.
This one,
Like, was it just
Like,
a guy
I
named
don't-
Chuck?
Or is it something where like the chucking is the act of pickpocketing and the stall is where the first person like stalls the guy
Distract.
long enough for you
Oh.
to take the money?
Maybe.
Okay.
Damn Victorians. Taking us.
Why are you guys so weird?
Learn English.
I'm not from this
Queen's
country,
English.
Josh.
All right.
I'm an immigrant.
Not you, the Victorians.
Oh, damn it. Sorry, Victorians.
They're all dead. They can't be offended.
I was going to say. Keep it in the family.
They did, and horrible things happened.
I know.
Oh no.
It's either teeth.
Sean, you think your face is weird from what you said. Theirs is weirder.
Oh man. The Habsburgs. The Habsburgs.
Bullies.
All right, Jules. Your second term is Boratio.
Oh.
Horatio.
Horatio.
Is that like Horatio Kane from CSI Miami's evil twin brother?
I was going to say, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's it. You should finalize that.
Yeah,
It's like the-
that's probably
Like the
it.
Canadian Boratio Sands.
It's
I was like, isn't that fool from Othello?
Horatio. It sounds like an expression that you would use to like describe somebody. Like that dude's being mad Horatio
Oh.
over there.
What that mean, though?
that sounds like
Yeah.
some shade.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know. Either that or it means he's like popping bottles over
Ooh.
there, like being so
damn, he
Horatio.
bougie. Okay.
Yeah, being extra. Yeah.
Horatio is a drunkard, so called because it was originally a word for the animal skin they would use to hold wine.
Oh.
The popping bottles over there was
That's
pretty
pretty
back.
close.
I'm gonna give that.
That was
to you.
pretty
Oh.
good.
That is pretty close.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
we're dead,
I
guys.
All right, well, the show's done. That's it.
Let's go get Horatioed.
Let's
you
go.
You might come back.
There's no coming back.
I believe, guys. This is it.
There
This
you-
is the one we get. Also, David Sal, I will say,
Teacup pig. Pretty almost.
You were right there.
Yeah. So close.
All right. Boys, your final term is pitch kettled.
No.
Pitch kettled.
So
I feel like the theme here is a drunk. So maybe someone who likes to party foul. You know, like you're getting turned up and you're just spilling drinks all over the place.
pitch kettle.
I put one
Wait,
in.
that was
It
me-
was
that
wrong.
was me who
Josh
put
put
one
one
in the
in. It was
beginning. That
wrong.
was wrong.
John.
Yeah, he said the teacup pig, remember?
So it's on you
So
now.
it's your turn, Sean.
Oh, right. I thought I said
I don't know.
teacup pig first.
Someone will correct us.
Oh,
You won't listen to this, Sean. You lived it.
You're not even gonna listen. So I don't know what.
yeah. It do be facts.
Pitch kettle. So I don't know. Like throwing your beer. Oh, like
Yeah,
a
that's what I
bottle.
was
Like
thinking,
when
like
you throw a
throwing
bottle on
bottles.
the ground.
Maybe
Bottle
like Thor
kids. I
when
think
he
that's what
wants
it's
more
called.
drinks.
Oh.
Remember with Thor? It was like, oh,
What is
I
it?
want another one.
Yeah.
And just throw it on the ground.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
I'm not.
oh, and
He was.
I'm
He
not
was
making
he was
that
there.
around
decision.
Victorian time.
All right. Is it,
Yeah, let's go with throw a beer
We'll
on the
go with
ground
that.
or something. Throwing a drink. Yeah.
Throwing drinks on the ground.
pitch
That's gonna
kettled
be wrong.
Okay.
is when
That's
you're
wrong.
confused or puzzled.
So like we are.
When you're confused and puzzled, and you might drop a drink or two. I mean, who's to say? Seems like we're 2 out of 3 over here.
We're pitch kettle that you're not considering our David's pig in the beginning. That was pretty spot on.
So close.
All right, Jules. Your final term is out on the loose.
Is that like when somebody's like snuck out of the house and basically like did it under their partner's nose and they're like, "Ooh, I'm
Ooh.
out on the loose. I'm out knocking back some drinks." And it's gonna be a guy because it's Victorian time.
Yeah.
Not gonna
Because it's Victorian
yeah, it's
times.
not gonna be the woman, right?
We can't fight.
So-
we can't fit through a window
yeah.
with all those skirts.
Too
We'd get
skirt.
stuck.
No, not corset. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd be a witch.
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna
good
go with
answer.
that.
All right.
That is a good answer.
Because I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
win
you could-
anyways, right?
shit,
That's
that
why it doesn't really
hurts.
matter what I
You can
think.
answer anything.
You can, I mean, you can literally
Yeah,
I'm
say
you
those
whatever you
idiots
want.
on Reddit on Wiki.
I was gonna say
Nobody listens to us for our intelligence. I'll say
it do be
that.
facts.
Out on the loose is a Victorian slang term for in search of adventures.
Oh.
Well, basically,
Yeah.
when I said the partner sneaks
So,
out and
sort of.
yeah, kind of, and is out there doing
Yeah.
God knows what.
She got
Adventurous.
two out of
Pretty
three.
close.
2 out of 3.
Wow.
Tie
we're the same.
game.
We both got 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
I guess the tiebreaker, Lynn.
Do you want to try and get back into it? If I give you the tiebreaker, see if you guys can get it.
Double or nothing.
All right, double or nothing.
Double or
tiebreaker.
nothing. We have nothing.
Yep.
We
Still
already
ends up
have
to be
nothing.
0.
So
All right.
Fine.
I
Final
think-
Jeopardy.
no matter
baby.
what.
If you got double,
You guys might actually get this one. I have faith.
I don't even have faith in us.
Giggle mug.
Giggle mug?
Giggle mug.
Giggle mug.
A funny looking mug.
Wait, we had the giggle one the first time around, right? It was the loud karaoke people.
Oh,
Those were
Whooper
whooper ups.
ups.
Whooper ups.
Oh, whooper ups.
Yeah.
woofer ups.
Giggle
Whooper
mug.
ups.
Giggle mug.
And then you had dirty puzzle, and it was not what Sean said it was.
I do remember what I said, and I don't care to read. I do not care to.
Oh, giggle mug.
Well, it's been real, Jules. Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Is it a mug with a funny slogan on it? I got a lot of those. I'll go get them.
I would say a giggle mug would be not to be rude again, but probably like a bunch of 5s, like a mid-looking, like a weird-looking person. Like their mug is so
Oh,
weird that it
I
makes
like that
everybody
answer.
else giggle.
You know what? Let's go with it. What do we have to lose?
Did you?
You were actually so close. You were so close. A giggle mug is a habitually smiling face.
Mm.
It is a face. At the end of the day, a face is a face. You know what I'm saying? So some people have goofy smiles,
And they're
too,
still
you
a
know,
5.
so it's
It's fine.
Yeah.
and they're still.
Well, I think we can officially crown Jules as the winner
All
of the
hail.
first annual Cramp-Off. Good job.
Congratulations, Jules.
I didn't have a speech prepared.
Speech.
Okay, I'll send you mine.
Yeah, send me yours
You
real
can subscribe
quick.
to us on Patreon. That's all.
It's your boy, Sean.
Jules saying, yeah.
To be fair, we shouldn't have made it this far. It should have been Jules versus Paige.
Someone a lot smarter than us, I think.
Yes.
This is the last time we get voted into this position.
Or people will just continually vote us in just to embarrass us.
Bring him
we
back.
have no shame at this point.
Or whoever we're going against will purposely vote for us so they can wash us in the finale every time.
That's what Jules did.
That's the strategy.
I got lucky,
No.
guys. I mean, I wouldn't have known what David's style was either.
She's so modest.
She's humble.
She is modest. If we would have won, Sean would have
humble
talked so
champion.
much shit.
Yeah.
I had actually confetti bombs behind me. I was ready to.
Pull the
Now he has
string.
to save them.
All right. Well, I would like to thank John and Josh, Sean and Jules for joining me for our first annual Can You Crack the Cramp-Word Cramp-Off. And before we go, would you all like to take a chance to tell our listeners where they can find you on social media? Ladies first. Champions first.
John? Oh, okay.
God damn it.
Okay, so I'm like the worst with social media. So I have Twitter for both of my podcasts, but I haven't got so far to actually do a TikTok. Do you guys have TikTok?
We do.
Any of you
Yeah.
for your shows?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you find it helps?
Some pop off. The only one that's popped off for me are the QAnon episode ones, and it's never a good audience when you get those people viewing your stuff. So sometimes it helps. Sometimes.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Podcast Riddle. And for my other show, The Path Went Chili, you can find me on Twitter at Path Went. Take it away, Sean.
From one champion to another, you could find our show. You could find Shots and Thoughts on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're at SNTPOD. Reddit on Wiki. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and you can find that at redditonwiki.com. We have different @s, and I get confused.
Yeah, we weren't consistent when we made them all.
Who's next?
Yeah, Dumbfound Dead. You can find it on Twitter at TDFDpod.
That was short and precise. Let's Start a Cult. You can find on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at let's_cult.
That was also short and precise.
I felt if I went really long after yours, it would just feel obnoxious.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining me tonight. And as always, I'm Lindsay, and I'll see you next time with another tale as old as crime.